Welcome to Balls and Brews. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers, gentlemen.
This looks delicious.
It does. I can't wait.
It smells good too. That's nice.
Oh,
That's tasty.
wow. Juicy bits, y'all. Yeah, and it is exactly that. It is extremely juicy. So this is from a brewery I never heard of before.
Hard to see in the light.
Weldworks. Yeah, it's a bright can. It's orange and yellow, so it definitely, doesn't feed well live. But god damn, is it a good beer. Greenlee, Colorado is where these guys are out of. So shout out to that Colorado, killing the game too. They got some really big cities out there making some really good beer. 6.7, so right at that level where it could have gotten heavy, right? You can right when you start pushing towards 7, especially with the hoppy beers, you can get really just hopped out really quick.
You get the hops at the end.
Right.
Like it's juicy at the beginning, but at the end you get that hops. It tells you that it's not that. Hey, it's not a 5.9. It's a 6.7. That's what the hops at the end kind of tell me. But it's tasty. I love the color.
Yeah, it's like a juice spritzer of sorts.
With a pack of hops on the back
It
end.
does. Right at that back end, you get that.
But the mouth feels fantastic. Delicious beer, you guys. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Weldworks, shout out, I suppose.
Is this, so you said this is the first one you've seen, Chuck?
I've never heard of these guys before. Yeah, it just was more along the lines of like, and I was just reading cans, so shout out. This is where a little sidebar within the topic itself. We kind of shit on Total Wine a couple pods ago for their selection, and dude, I visited there a couple nights ago to pick these up, something up, and you guys have really stepped your game up, man. I had several opportunities to spend a lot more money than I had to push shit back. I
Get
did.
in the candy shop.
Oh yeah. I was like, yo, I'm about to run up a fucking bill here. Like,
We didn't get to those triple digits.
I could have. Oh, dude, there's one beer there that looks so good, but it was $26 for the bomber, and I was like,
That's hard to do.
It is really. Now those beers are traditionally worth it. I think out of all of those beers that I have gone above and beyond to spend like that kind of money on, they always smack. They're always the best of the best.
I'd
But
rather
it's
take that 26 and throw it in a bottle of bullet or something.
I mean, it's tough, sure. No, absolutely. There's a lot of other ways you could apply that. I don't know. I just sometimes though that it overcomes me, and I buy those super fancy ones.
Treat yourself.
Exactly. Self care, self love, y'all. That's what we're about on this pod.
Let's jump into what was the topic of the first part of the week. The CFP rankings came out for the Final Four, basically the last of the Final Four. We're going to go to an 8 now, or a 12 now. It should be an 8. But we're going to a 12
They
now.
just completely skipped like a phase, basically.
Yeah.
They just went from like freshman to varsity. They didn't even fucking take that junior.
Well, I think it was implemented wrong though when you have 5 power conferences and only 4 teams getting in. It should have been like 6 or 8 from the beginning. But
6 to me makes sense. I know it's a tricky way to like break it down. It's an odd bracket.
Top
but,
2 you get a bye if you're the number 1 and 2 in the nation.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
6
it's not
would be
that
perfect this
tough.
season,
But,
too.
right. Exactly. No, it's and I think 12 is going to be bloated sooner rather than later.
NCAA doesn't do much right, and they didn't do this right. So.
You don't think so? I don't know. This is gonna be a good.
No,
debate then,
I
too.
think I'm talking the
the expansion. I'm sorry, to 12 teams, right? Yeah, we all agree on that.
even 1 and 4, maybe 1 through 6 should have been to get the 5 at the beginning. NCAA always seems a trip up, and I think they just don't have the right people in place. Transfer portal, NIL, all of it.
do you think they're smart enough to like plan this? So we're gonna leave out a top or a Big 5 or ACC champion, I should say, just so that people will be like, well, it's better than 4.
I don't know.
Because it's just those. Yeah.
It's a perfect year for the NCAA to say, hey, look, we have 2 more deserving teams. We are going to flex this schedule and we will make this happen. The whole nation would have gotten behind it. Absolutely.
Of course, they never get that right, though.
No, because you can't make shit happen that quick, because then it would literally be an emergency changing of the like it wouldn't happen. You can't just add because where would you play it?
They're playing in a bowl already. You just
I make that the important bowl. I know. In theory, on paper, you could make it happen. Logistically, it never would. Never, ever, ever. And it sucks that that's why they're expanding.
you'd only have to add 1 more bowl game, and I'm sure TV would be jumping at
I'm
the chance to
100%
grab
100% on your side, Trev. I'm just saying the way that paperwork moves, they couldn't get that done, and because they had to know within, after the rankings come out, you got like a week to figure it out, right?
But they talked about it earlier in the season, and of course, just the NCAA just on the
blowing smoke. So let's go through the matchups.
All right,
then.
so let's go through for top 6, then we'll talk matchups. So 1
Top
is
6.
number Michigan, number 2 is Washington, number 3 is Texas, number 4 is Alabama, number 5 Florida State, and number 6 is Georgia. But before we get through the matchups, what is your feelings on 1 through 6?
Oh, okay. Yes, no. I feel like this is a fair question before we get into the games themselves, because it was potentially the most controversial one we've ever had, right?
I'd say.
On the way out of 4, they're for sure leaving their stamp on it.
We were all wrong. We all said Georgia was going to smack Bama. That did not happen.
And
And after a 29-game win streak, they don't get the benefit of the doubt. They lost once and they're on the outside looking in.
Okay, so you only got 4. So
the other 3 are conference champions.
Michigan's undefeated, Washington's undefeated.
Right.
If you're going to argue about schedule,
right,
then Washington should have been 1. And
correct.
Michigan should have been 2.
Or Michigan should have been 2. Yes.
Correct. Washington should have been 1. So I think that the whole rankings of how they try to view stuff doesn't always make sense through the first 4. And Florida State, yes, deservingly maybe should be there, and I feel bad. That's like the East Coast team that I root for. You're not one of the best 4 teams without your quarterback, but then you could argue that Georgia should be in there because they would be in every game too. So
I would even put Georgia ahead of Florida State in that ranking.
I would too.
Agreed. I think that, also coming up, you got to judge off of the game that just happened as well, but to go from 1 to 6 after a 29-game win streak, that's pretty nuts. By a 3-point victory by Bama.
But it also sucks that your fucking undefeated ACC champion is getting left out because the quarterback did get hurt.
Yeah, no, but okay, real quick, do we all agree that was the correct move?
I think those are the right 4.
I think 1 through 3 is great. The Georgia Bama thing is, I know Georgia lost the home game in the thing.
It's heads up.
It's such a
that was basically a home game for Georgia. They're playing in Atlanta's.
The
Falcons Stadium.
I understand Bama being in there. It's just the 4th spot.
It's tough to lose that.
Yes,
especially after being the past champion. That seems like a spot that Bama would get in if it was the other way around.
Correct. It kind of seems like they saw Nick Saban, Jim Harbaugh 1-4 and said, "Let's do this."
Yes. In the overall, that is probably okay. I believe what you just pointed on with but Florida State losing not only 1 but they're 2 as well. They struggled to get past Louisville in that conference title game.
Well, when you don't throw for a passing touchdown
in 2 weeks. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, in the 2 games that they had without their quarterback, without Travis. And I don't think they passed for more than
150 yards or something.
It was around there. Yeah. I want to say 164 was the high.
Ooh.
It's just they became one-dimensional, and as good as the rest of that team is,
you can't put them in because a CFP is a entertainment. It's entertainment.
Business.
It's a business. Plus, if those 2 kids would have came out for Florida State and lit it up, remember Cardell Jones came out and lit it up for 2 games and got into the CFP.
Yeah.
When they won the chip?
Right. So if either of those kids would have come out and lit it up in any of those games, I think the voting would have been very different.
The different argument is that they came out and rolled a 49-14 victory, with Cardell, their first game out. They came out and were just here it is. We still can.
And then rolled Wisconsin up in the ball too.
Yeah. So there was but that struggle for the conference championship to a Louisville team that just lost to Kentucky, that Bama blew the fuck out. It's all dominoes.
Yep.
I think that they got it right out, dude, because Florida State would have been lambs to the slaughter to Michigan. It would have been fucking horrible. It would have been another Iowa-Michigan matchup where they beat them 26-7 or some shit. It would have been a bad game. They know that Saban Harbaugh, oh my God, that's going to put butts in seats and eyes on TVs. Absolutely. It's for sure the entertainment and the money market, no doubt. And I think the matchup I wish it was happening at the Rose Bowl, But I love the matchup between Washington and Texas.
Yep.
Those are two very mirrored teams.
Washington got fucked on that too. They got to go all the way to New Orleans.
Right. No, I know. It's far more of an easy trip for Texas fans to go to Louisiana than. That's why I'm saying the Rose Bowl would have been fucking great. If we were number one and we would have just had to gone down to Cali, that would have been a much easier trip.
Yeah, still a trip.
Yeah, agreed. But at least just Seattleites would be far more inclined to go to California,
Got
LA,
history
than
there.
fucking.
Not across the country.
Yeah, to fucking Louisiana. There'll still be a lot of Dogs fans, don't get me wrong. There are diehards and there are people who have money in Seattle that it's like limitless. So they'll show up in their purple and gold. But I do love the matchup because I think it's more intriguing that, Texas and Washington the matchups are perfect, I think, for the 4 that they put in there. I just wish mine was closer to Seattle.
Me too, as a West Coast fan. Can we play a little devil's advocate?
Let's
What
get
happens
it.
if Jordan Travis doesn't get hurt? Does the SEC not get a team in? Because then you can't argue that Florida State's not one of the 4 best teams. Because
If they roll, they have to get in. They'd be number 3, and then 4.
Texas would be Texas
4.
or would Texas not get in?
in.
Or would Texas not get in?
No, because they spanked Oklahoma State and they had the heads up against Bama. They have to be number. They would have to be number 4.
But the SEC never misses the championship.
See,
This was the closest to, and I think that if Jordan wouldn't have gotten hurt, then he would have.
God, can you imagine that?
You can't rewrite what happened. But as okay.
God, I feel so bad.
Exactly. That's the hard part. As a fan or just somebody who I don't necessarily pull for Florida State, so I love the matchups, like I've said, and I think that for what it is, and for the last year of 4, this is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be one of the best weeks of college football in theory that we've ever seen. These are all really good teams. Like
New Year's Day, baby.
yeah, it's going to be amazing.
SEC not getting in,
but an undefeated Power 5, it's a
slap in the face, and I
It
agree
is.
with.
But if they would have rolled, if they would have came out and smacked Louisville and made it unarguable, they still can roll teams.
Like, could have still maybe got that.
Maybe they would have gotten a lot more thought, I think.
I do too. I really do, and I'm disappointed. I understand Booger McFarland and
Robert
Robert Griffin
came out immediately for sure. That was good.
I understand Booger McFarland and Robert Griffin's the third's point of view on how it's BS and Power 5 games and they went out and won all their games, but like you have to look at it like Dan Patrick put it perfectly, both of them. There isn't a law in the CFP that if you're undefeated you get in.
Right. And also, Alabama played a much tougher schedule. They are playing at a better rate than Florida State is. The argument is ascension versus dissension.
Well,
right?
it's all about just Jordan getting hurt. If Jordan doesn't get hurt, it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, that's the dissension.
Right.
You can't control that.
And as both those guys are like, well, you can't penalize the rest of the team. You're not one of the 4 best teams, and I don't know how those guys don't understand that. Well, they maybe deserve, but
they're
not
going to
the best.
say. They're not going to say it. They might feel a little different than what they say to the media. You're gonna have to play the well, dude. We did everything. What the fuck else do you want us to do? An undefeated ACC champion.
This show's been in agreement a whole lot lately.
The agreeable pod. That is true.
We were in agreement on the 4. We agreed on the 4 through our buddies' text messages. We had some buddies that were like, no way, and us 4 were always like, no, it makes sense. Like, it just makes sense.
Well, it's because we also talk football every week, so we're, I think when you see the roadmap kind of develop out in front of you, you can't argue the results. Like, you couldn't tell me that Florida State deserved number 4. If you do, argue with me in the comments. I'd love to have a debate because I think that the committee got 4-4. I would love the expansion to 6, as we just kind of previously teased on. It would have been a killer year for an emergency 6 before the transfer to 12, right? But that's not what happened.
But then you're leaving out Ohio State.
Who the fuck cares? That's the best thing of all time.
Before we start going down this
Dude, we get to form new conference rivalries with Ohio State. That's kind of neat. I mean, it's not.
Fucking hate being in the Pac-12. Let's jump into the NBA before we start going down to that. Go ahead, Trevor.
Before we get to the NBA, just two quick notes on college football.
They're kind of big.
One's really big, I think.
Former Oklahoma
quarterback Dylan Gabriel signs with the Ducks.
Has he got 2 years left? Because I thought they were looking for another junior like Bo. I think does he have 2?
I'm pretty sure he does. I think he's only a sophomore.
I don't think it matters. I think that it's year by year. Who cares?
No,
Get him for at least a year.
No,
right?
Dan Lanning said they were looking for like another kind of Bo Nix thing where they
Well,
wanted
that's
to,
what they're gonna say.
Well, they
but
don't
you're
want
also
to
gonna take the best talented kid that's in the portal. You
And
know what I
that's
mean?
rough for us, for fans and teams in that conference.
Sure. Yeah, no, that
kid's
changes
good.
some shit because now I'm losing Penix at the end of the year, and I don't really know what my quarterback plan is. Maybe Riley Leonard, maybe Cam Ward. That'd be weird. I don't know how you could take a Washington State transfer. Don't do it.
That'd be pretty easy. He's pretty good.
He has shined. He shined a couple of really good games.
So yeah. So what's your other note, Chad?
My other one was just a big signing. Colorado signs a 5-star tackle out of Florida.
Actually,
Yes.
Like for real, like
For real,
he's
bro.
okay.
Like, yeah, he seems like the real deal. Like, he's a 5-star, man. So, I mean, he probably play immediately with the,
How bad that offense line played.
yeah, and they need that big time.
That we called
That
at the
was
beginning
their
of the season.
Achilles heel, and it wasn't even close. And then everything kind of shedded off of that. Once the armor was broken, they were just decimated.
Yeah,
Like,
every
yeah.
fucking analyst was blowing him in the nation.
Oh my god, that first month it was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That,
it's
that
like,
love
come on,
was.
you guys. How do you guys? And I was so
Colorado 23.
so irritated that they were ranked that early after that win. That irritated me so bad because
I
they weren't
agree.
good.
I agree.
All right, let's jump into the NBA. Let's start with the in-season tournament.
Success, correct? I mean, come on, we have to be honest about that. Like,
I think
we're talking about it. Eyes are getting on basketball. It's making the regular season matter.
Yep,
Like,
it's been a successful plot.
Yeah, the players are into it. I mean, it's nice.
Well, some are.
I mean, I feel like the majority was.
One player we'll talk about wasn't, but yes.
Oh, okay, we'll get to that. But yeah, I think that's a total win. The floors being another color, like, helps you, like, identify those games. So it kind of worked, I thought. I mean, some of those floors were a little much.
Yes.
red on red, too much, bro. Come on. Like, neon. Well, I can't talk a lot about neon, you know, when we do them fucking matching.
Well, you
greens,
can't
dude.
because you don't like those either.
Ugh, I don't.
Go for it, Trev, with the matchups that we have.
Yeah, what do we
Yeah,
got?
so we talked about it last pod, the 4 games, and then so just if we want to lead up to the championship.
Lead up.
So Suns lose to the Lakers 106-103. Whew, close game, man.
Chucky had the
I was
Suns, if I
wrong,
remember
correct.
right.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
wrong on that
Okay.
pick.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
just checking. Just checking back. Little callback.
What's the next one, Chad?
To match up against them, the Kings go down 117-127.
Did we all pick the Pelicans because they
I
were
think
hot
so.
coming into that? I thought so too.
They're healthy. Like there was when you have extra incentive.
Okay, we're gonna do yes.
Sidebar?
We'll do it at the next. No, we'll do it the next game.
Okay,
We'll do it when the Pelicans lost.
All right. So then for the East, the Bucks take down the Knicks 146-122. Just
Dude,
blew the doors off.
When they're on, dude. The Knicks can be on, but like I don't even think when they're both playing at A1, I'm taking the Bucks.
I'm taking the Bucks.
Just because of the completeness of the team. When Brunson is killing it for New York, when Josh Hart is having good games, when obviously Julius Randle, when the three of them can actually do stuff, that team can be fantastic, but they are not as consistent or better than Milwaukee on a night-to-night basis.
Not even
Not
close.
Yeah.
And then we all got the next one wrong. Pacers 122.
Shout.
Celtics 112.
The reason
Tyrese Halliburton, dude, he
Boy.
is on
He's popping.
fucking fire. He is like maybe a new up and coming guy right now.
he's been around for a little bit. But
Drummond made it great to highlight him because he really showed out.
Well, so this is also, I read this statistic about the roster itself. They have three-way players who are only making $900,000 total. If they hit a $500,000 in-season bonus, are you kidding me? That's 50%
nice.
more of your salary right there. Those kids are fucking playing. That money, that part of the money, that matters to those kids. That's not LeBron James who's got $40 million coming off this year or whatever.
He's
you know what I mean? $50 million.
He's been fucking playing it out though.
Because he also wants the title. He wants to hang the banner at home. He don't want that banner nowhere else. He wants that first inaugural, LeBron James did it banner. Like, so it's cool
Something
though,
you'll have before Michael.
that's the best part of this. We're seeing young guys hungry, pushing because they need bonuses and like why the fuck not? And then you got old heads that are coming in saying, look, I can still fucking do this. Yeah, I want this title too. You get the best of both worlds.
So that's why it's worked, right?
Eyes on me. Eyes on me.
Hey,
All right, what do you got there, pal?
So for the semifinals, the Lakers take down the Pelicans. They destroyed them, 133 to 89.
So, sidebar.
All right.
That's gotta be. That's embarrassing.
We've
Can
talked
we
about-
talk about the game just real quick? That's a smacking. Like, okay, all right, that's it.
Okay, so we've talked about that we've been kind of big fans of how the Pelicans have been playing. Zion Williamson is still out of shape. His points per game might be nice, his rebounds are down, everything else is down. He's out of shape, he's overweight. The kid does not get it. Plain and simple.
It's been the narrative since he's got there, and that's why I thought the Pelicans should have moved off of him last season.
His value is still high. There's a lot of words about how teams would have made some moves for him. It's the unlocking the potential. Exactly.
Dude,
everybody thinks they can fix people.
If I was the Pelicans, trade him to the fucking Knicks for Julius Randle. Bring Julius Randle in, dude. Then the Pelicans, like, I know Julius we've talked about is like such
But
a
maybe a
wave.
fresh start though. It's the whole argument of like a new city, new surrounding.
But then he's also he does work harder than Zion.
Zion's, yeah.
So there's
could
no
be a
argument
win.
there.
Pelicans are close too. They
And
need
healthier
something like
too.
that.
And healthier too.
And I just don't. I mean, I don't know where else you would move Zion to. I think the Knicks would be that place.
Or just whoever's going to take him at this point.
Right.
You had high value this offseason, like Money alluded to, but like now I just don't know because we don't want to be like a trashy like TMZ style fucking pod, but there was this offseason shit with him and this porn star, and he knocked up this other chick, and there's all this legal stuff going on.
Yeah,
His head's not there.
No,
dude.
you need to.
He's just not. He got that money, got that contract, got that shoe deal, got all that cheddar, and then he just abandoned putting basketball first. Is what it looks like.
I could give a fuck less if you're fucking a porn star, but don't be knocking shit up and having the court stuff. That's where you go too far. You can knock girls up, but then once you get to the court stuff, that's where it's too far. Now you're like intermixing.
Pay for your children, Nick.
Yeah, dude, you're intermixing. You shouldn't be doing that anyway. But now you're like mixing your like
It's
court life
just
into basketball life.
Not everybody's Dennis Rodman, all right. Not everybody's built to live that kind of life.
But you should, when you're like a professional athlete, that shit comes like. That's your job. That's like
I agree.
It's like taking care of your family. That's generational fucking wealth.
Well, that's why even not being like a Lakers fan, I appreciate players like Kobe Bryant who are just putting work in. Before the Olympics, there was a story that came out about him going to the gym early in the morning working out.
At
Like,
4 a.m.
Yeah,
4
and then
a.m.
Carmelo and all those fools were coming back from parties. Then all of a sudden they said, "Well, Kobe's doing it. Maybe we need to do it."
Built
and they
different.
all started doing it, and that fucking team would have
Mamba
given.
mentality, bro.
That
They have a
team would've
whole section they've created. It's kind of been post his career, actually. The Mamba mentality didn't really come out until he was retired, kind of thing.
That
as far as
team-
the term.
That Mamba team with him going to the gym that early, that team would have given the Dream Team a run for its money.
Ooh.
It's a hot take.
That's a young LeBron James. That's a young Carmelo.
Yeah, no, I get it. That
team would-
92 team, though, man.
Hungry
I know,
Good Lord.
dude, I know, but
oh my God.
that team
Could at least push him.
would have
Push
given
him,
them
maybe.
because you had a Dwight Howard on that team that was young, one of the best defensive players in the game.
Didn't you have Dirk on that team, too?
Dirk wouldn't have been on the Dream Team.
No,
He's
not
on-
92. No, I'm talking
No,
about.
Dirk's on like a Europe team, bro.
Oh, yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's a fucking
Yeah.
German.
Yeah.
German.
So, but you would have had that
I mean-
team would have been legit.
The 92 team, the other side had some of those players too.
I know.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, everybody.
But that
Think
would've
about
been one
everybody
team.
that
That
mattered
would've
in
been
the
one
90s, and they had Magic. Magic came out of
Yeah.
retirement to ball with him just to get a fucking gold.
I'm not saying they would have beat him. I'm saying that's the one team
It would have been a hell of a game.
they would have given him, because if you think about, there was the D Wades, the Carmelos, LeBron, Kobe, Dwight Howard, and I know I'm missing people. I know that it's Michael and Magic, who I love, Magic, Larry.
Dude, Bird,
Bird.
Robinson,
Well, Bird did-
Johnson, Barkley.
Bird was
oh
on the
my
back.
God.
Bird was on the back end of his career too.
Doesn't matter.
His
It's
back-
a lot
She
of
never
work.
dies, huh?
It's Elijah one too. Was that?
Yeah,
year?
the only person, Scotty, the only person who was left off was Isaiah Thomas, because
Michael didn't want to play with
right,
him.
because and then they had Christian Leitner on
They
that
had
team.
to have a college player. That was
Christian Leitner.
Yeah. Oh, he was the shit.
Yeah.
Well, at that
In
time,
college.
he was the shit for sure.
So,
yeah, no.
So we got Lakers versus Pacers boys in the finals.
Oh, we skipped
In
the
Vegas.
Oh, yeah,
last
sorry,
game.
sorry.
So yeah, to set that up, the Pacers beat the Bucks.
There was just a major
128-119.
sidebar.
Yeah.
We just had a major sidebar.
Halliburton went off again. And it was a really good game, dude. But the Pacers are on fire. Like Chuck said, the money is calling the young players.
And that game is tonight at 5:30 West Coast or Pacific Standard Time.
Let's go. I know what I'll be doing at 5:30 then.
Yep.
That's legit.
I'm taking Lakers, obviously. Trev?
Man,
That's fun. I love this matchup because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
it doesn't. I think Halliburton's continue to play well. I think LeBron really, really wants this. I think this is one of those games where he can will the rest of the team to get.
If AD gets even 15, they're probably going to win this game. Like, you just have to have a subpar AD and a team that doesn't turn the ball over. Like, you want to keep you at least need a little bit of defense. You got to keep the score down. You can't let them run it up to $120, $125. You're going to lose that game.
Lakers play pretty good D. I think you got to get.
That's what I'm saying.
I think
So
you got to get Reeves has got to be in that like 15 mark.
you got to slow them down. You got to make a half-court game, bro. That's what you have to do.
Ruby's got to be around 15, and I think what's his name, which I think he's getting traded. D'Lo.
D'Angelo.
I think he's got to be right around that 10, 12 mark too with some assists. But I think that's what you need is an AD with that 17. LeBron goes off. D'Lo.
He's been all
He's
right.
been playing
This
okay.
playoff or bracket.
Trade him for fucking
NCAA tournament.
DeRozan.
His value's not that high.
Who
Yeah,
you got
we
in
can put
this
those
game?
up.
Because we gave ours.
Sure. No, honestly, dude, the juice.
Do it. Just take
Pacers, because the juice,
Fuck.
because I want the juice, and I love the upset, and I love the underdog, and I hate watching I love watching the Lakers lose. Is what I mean. Yeah, it's been dude. Okay, the Lakers are a fucking an evil empire when you're a fan of the NBA. If you're not a fan of the Lakers, it's like the Yankees or Dodgers in baseball. It's like, or even the Red Sox for that
Just
matter.
hate it in, that's all.
I'm a hater.
Haters
We all know
gonna
this. Haters gonna hate. But
As my friend Tucker Thomas would say, you just hate him because you don't have no fucking team. And then me and him would get like, hey Tuck, I got you.
Yeah. Do you like it? Does it feel good?
Feels good.
Because it hurts every time. No, man. The Sonics are coming back, y'all. We've had these talks. I got the tingles. Not the Sonics, maybe themselves.
It's not if.
But
now it's just when.
Right, and
It really is.
I love this. Okay, at this point, at one point, I was extremely vengeful. I didn't care if I snagged Sacramento or New Orleans. I didn't give a shit if I was taking a team or not.
But
Like,
this
if
is
just money
better.
prevailed, yes, because it's going to be an expansion. It's going to be
Vegas
once
and
again,
Seattle.
right? It's going to be once again though only a Seattle franchise. I guess in the overall, if we can't get the Sonics moniker and the history and all that shit back, if the Thunder doesn't want to give that up and we start anew, I'm really not mad with that either because I love the non-shared history.
I have a question. Do you know who that ownership group is going to be?
Well, Chris Hansen has been the main pusher for literally the entire decade that they've been going, 15 years.
I think they have to announce it because then LeBron and a couple of their athletes have said they want to push in for the Vegas team.
Oh yeah, no, there will be hype around. It doesn't matter who even the investment group is.
Dude,
right
it's
now to
huge.
start. There's gonna be money fucking everywhere.
The Vegas team is going to be.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
they're
it's gonna be
a
insane.
bigger deal than the A's coming in, and the A's have a 100-year history. Think about that.
Sidebar. I did read an
That
article.
was a
this
heavy
week.
sidebar.
I did read an article this week that said that some writer wrote that he wishes that Manfred at least would have left the Athletics name in Oakland, which that will come up in a different time when we're slower and we can talk about.
I think
Jeff.
we're
Yeah,
all in
still-
agreement with that.
Well, you took the Raiders moniker with
Right.
you, like.
But that was So I don't know.
Because
But-
you're taking the same franchise. I don't know.
But you
Yeah,
took the
Oakland
same franchise
Athletics,
and went to the
and
Thunder.
I'm so glad. Yeah, and it's a downgrade. Going.
I feel like the Vegas one was
Would
not
you
as
want
bad.
to get that though?
Once
Once
you-
Oklahoma City took the Sonics, wouldn't you? Even more.
If they were the Oklahoma City Sonics,
Yeah.
Oklahoma City Sonics.
That's
I
a
would
mouthful.
be fucking livid. Hold on, let me
Yeah,
let me
no,
get this out
yeah.
just real quick, and I appreciate your hand
Yeah.
up, but. That's what I'm saying. I love that we can break off if we're gonna start a new franchise. It's the Seattle's, and that's it. Leave it in fucking Seattle. Go ahead, Donnie. Thank you for giving me my.
I think the Raider move and the A's move is a totally different move.
Really? Okay, go for it. I want to hear it. This is sidebar, but I want to hear this.
I think the Raider move was there was no the Raider move. It wasn't that they were leaving Oakland. Everybody knew the Raiders were like they didn't leave Oakland in the dust like the A's. the Raiders were moving, and there was wasn't exactly the same amount of money that was provided for the A's, and the agreements weren't the same between city officials and all that. I don't think the Raider move is as egregious to Vegas as the A's move to Vegas is. I think the A's move to Vegas is way more egregious than the Raiders move to Vegas.
Well, do you think part of that is the Raiders have a history of moving before?
Maybe it just didn't feel as egregious as a fan base for some reason. I just didn't feel like there was as much. It would have been cool for them to stay in Oakland, but I feel like the move wasn't as egregious as the A's move. I feel like the A's more like kicked Oakland in the balls compared to
They
like
were
the Raiders.
playing. They were still playing in a fucking baseball
Correct.
stadium. The city of Oakland never looked out for the Raiders. That fan base is one of the most rabid you're ever gonna find, and like for that, once again, I feel sorry.
I do too, but I just feel like the move wasn't as
Like
egregious
shout them out,
as a fan.
give me some love on this Reebok, this Oakland Raiders. This is nasty right there, dude. That's legit. Hell yeah, you can't get that shit no more.
But yeah, I don't know. I just didn't feel as egregious going from the Oakland Raiders to Las Vegas Raiders. The A's moving from Oakland to Las Vegas seems just more
It
of an
just
egregious
seems
move.
forced. It seems far
Yes.
more forced. I would
Yeah.
say is the way I would say. It's like
I think so, too.
the Athletics. You knew they were tearing the team down. You've been on that note for years now. You've known that they've been kind of
Fucking hate
whittling their way so that they could make some sort of move, and it just seems shisty.
Do
The
we
Raiders moved. Sorry, real quick. I don't want to cut you off, but the Raiders moved with the intention of trying to get better. The A's
Correct.
are just moving because they can,
'Cause they want to.
kind of thing. Like
Right.
it's not
I was gonna ask, do we just blame ownership in this situation?
in the A's.
Oh,
it's-
the A's thing, I fucking hate ownership.
Well, yeah,
I wish they wouldn't.
wear your Cell
I
t-shirt.
actually wish they wouldn't take the A's name, and then I could just walk away, like Chuck was able to. That gives us a perfect segue into the next
Don't,
segment.
dude, no. Hey, hold on real quick. I know what you did right there. You ain't gonna sneak away with that. You're not gonna be the cause of all my heartache and then understand it like 20 years fucking later. We're not gonna play that game.
I just walked right away.
Dude, I think that it's sad. The A's don't belong in Vegas. The A's don't belong in Vegas. I really didn't even think the Raiders necessarily belong, but you're right, Money, in the fact that they've popped around a couple of times, so it's a lot more feasible for, especially for the common fan. Oh, look, the Raiders moved again, kind of thing. But like the A's have been in Oakland for what, like 60 years now? Some shit? Even longer?
They went from Philadelphia to
Right.
Kansas City.
And
They've been
then-
in Oakland since in the early 80s?
Is it?
No,
it's-
70s,
It's
early
before
70s.
that. It's before that.
No, only early 70s. They left Kansas City in
Oh.
the 60s.
Okay.
Because they had those sick ass fucking hats in the
I
70s. With brawly fingers.
I love that. I
Spin
love
in
the
the-
hats. Let's
Um,
throw it out there.
But that does roll us into the next segment of the MLB.
Baseball.
So let's start with kind of the weird news that the Shohei stuff has been very
Well,
quiet.
it's sad for us
It
because
is.
the whole report is no report.
For
Right,
everybody.
it sucks. But then some reporter came out, I think it was Friday morning, and said that Shohei was on his way to Toronto to sign a deal. He came out today's Saturday, and apologized for his report that Shohei wasn't.
Oops.
So it's just like, dude, like, yeah, how do you even report that as a reporter? It does suck that we're not getting the Shohei stuff, dude. It really fucking does. I want that like juice.
I
Give
mean,
it to
it's
me.
the biggest move of the offseason in years, and it's just, he wants it quiet.
Is this
That's
up
not
there with
fun.
like Tom Brady, LeBron big news, or is this bigger?
Well, see, it's no because see,
it's not
here-
a big sport.
Exactly. The magnitude of the common fan does not play
That's
in
why it's not
the
bigger.
same scenario for baseball as it does for especially football or the NBA on like the one percenters.
Dude,
But
for
it
me,
should be.
for me, I'm like, fucking
Right.
refresh,
No.
refresh,
And it's
refresh,
not to
refresh.
say that there's not fanatics out there like you. Baseball blood runs deep, it does, but it's just it
I
doesn't
know.
have the common
I
fan.
know.
It just doesn't. It's like the NHL. They've been making strides. They've been getting better. They're on ESPN. There's a lot more loving coming to
You
them.
pulled us in.
Absolutely, I love the Kraken, dude. We're kind of wishy-washy. We got a lot of ties, which is keeping us in the point score.
We were like this,
I hate that. by
like
the way.
this, and then now we're like starting.
Oh, or I'm sorry, I'm only on 80% ascension instead of 100%. Shut the fuck up.
We were kicking fucking ass.
Yeah, I know, that's great. That's,
Okay, let's
it's
stick
not-
with the baseball stuff. Oh, we're getting
Baseball,
off here.
baseball.
So,
Shohei,
it does
Shohei.
suck, dude. It sucks.
Let us in just a little bit. I mean, I also
Embrace it.
I want to respect
Embrace
the dude
it.
as well. It's
I know.
Maybe does it? Okay, is this a culture thing?
Yes.
But at the same time,
Yes.
he's also in New Balance commercials and like so. It's not to say that he's not out there in the sphere in the public.
It's somewhat of a. I think it's somewhat of a culture thing. Being a Japanese, I think you want to say more like secretive.
They're
That's
far
kind of it.
more about keeping their shit quiet
But
for sure.
yeah, it'd be better for baseball if he embraced
If
it.
you
Oh my
want-
god,
yeah.
wouldn't it though? It would. Then they could just banner it. Boom, Shohei, and he could just step out and be elite explosions. Like people might actually give a shit.
Do you think maybe part of this, besides maybe where he's from, is the other side is with his injury? Do you think?
They're trying to
That's-
hide anything. I read.
That is true. He
I-
did suffer a significant injury. in
Jeff
the middle
Passan
of the
said that
season.
he thinks that if it.
He's only going to be a hitter next year, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah,
that's
the
what the word
teams are
is.
really going to want to get those MRIs done to really know the extent of what that 500 million.
How
/
old is
600
he at the current moment?
he's like 28.
Okay, so he's not
26.
necessarily a spring chicken. He's got some miles on him.
But still, in the 20s, I feel pretty good about the
Well, yeah, they
injury
give
rate.
motherfuckers at 36, 37 some deals you're looking
I
at.
think we've had conversations
Hey,
about.
Aaron Rodgers, baby.
I think we've had conversations about putting him in the
MVPs.
pens. Like, what happens if he was the
Case by
closer?
case.
Or
Oh,
what
sure.
happens if he was
Mariano Rivera pitched until he was 90.
Or what happens if he was like a reliever? You know, like
That's what I'm saying,
He
yeah.
came in the 8th or 7th.
A closer, he
did
dished to 3 guys and then walked off.
That would
For
be
And
sure.
still
interesting.
hit all game. And still hit all game.
That would be interesting for the fans, just to
It would
get
make,
them
oh
in
my
that
god, it
different-
would make that any
Yeah.
must-watch TV kind of thing.
Could you
Sure.
imagine trying
Sure.
to? You could sell that. Like,
You
hey,
could easily
the
sell
only
that.
problem is though his warm-up routine would be incredibly hard because he would literally have to come from the pen to the dugout to hit, and then try to get back to the pen to warm up. That's the one thing about being the reliever.
Yeah.
His warm-up routine would be almost impossible.
He's
I feel
fine.
like
he can
if
make it. He's
Anybody
super
could
good.
do it though.
It'd be sick if he could.
Dude, they would set up dude, whatever, dude. You turn the dugout into a pitch, you turn it into a fucking,
pen?
yeah, exactly. You let Shohei pitch. Everybody else sit the fuck down, okay? He throws straight.
But
He'll be fine.
He could also go to a team where you could do like a load management type thing. Where
It's
you
curious to see how this all plays out, though. I mean,
We're
really,
not
the
gonna-
sad thing
yes.
is that we have to speculate in whispers.
Yes.
It'd be really fucking great if we could just be like, what the fuck's gonna happen? And then everybody could be like, yeah, ask him questions. And he's like, well, I don't know. You know? Because he ain't gonna tell you.
Yep. One thing that's not a whisper anymore, Juan Soto in a
Oh, he's a Yank, bro.
in a 7-player team deal.
Seven.
Padres get 2, or Yankees get 2
Seven.
guys. Padres
Padres
get
get
5
five.
guys. That just ultimately, if Juan Soto can
It's
get,
because of the contract, right? They had to balance out the contract.
no, you don't have to balance it.
In baseball, it doesn't matter.
No.
So it's
all
okay.
just
It's
process.
just, yep.
I was gonna say because in the NBA and the NFL, contracts
No, you don't.
significantly will shift the deal.
You don't have to balance as
Okay.
much.
Okay.
But
Good
Soto
enough.
going to the Yankees, that gives him Soto and Aaron Judge in the outfield. If Soto can get even close back up to 300 and Aaron Judge stays healthy, that
It's a
gives
really
you
good beer.
oh, it's delicious. That gives you 2 legitimate outfielders. That was a huge deal for the Yankees, and they're not done making deals. They got the kid from the Red Sox, who the Red Sox got from the Dodgers. What's it, Alex Vertigo?
Something with a V. Yeah.
So they got him too. So the Yankees
Rare
are making.
deal. How are you dealing within the division?
It's only 7 times in 100 years the Yankees
Damn.
and Red Sox have ever made a trade.
What about Babe Ruth?
So yes, so keep your eyes open
The
for
Chris
Soto,
Bambino.
and there should be more. You got the other guy coming from Japan. I'm not going to pronounce his name yet. I'm not
Yeah,
good
pitcher.
I'm not good enough at it. It's like Yashimoto,
Yakamoto.
something like that. He's still out there. Once Show goes down, once the Shohei sign happens, everything is just going to happen after that because then people will know where the money's at.
Well, Yakamoto might have him before that. We'll see.
Yeah.
Just because, there's a lot of teams in on him.
Yes, you're
And-
one of them. You're one of them. Both you guys are.
I want it.
So coming up in segment number 2, we're gonna give a little insight to the playoff race.
Postseason push.
Let's go. It matters. We're in the last month, you guys. We're talking about this off pod. We salivate for this every
Cheers,
year.
boys.
Every year, we sit there in that off season for 5, 6, 7, 8. It feels like an eternity, and then the season vanishes.
We'll see you after this with the postseason push. Welcome back to Balls and Brews. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Playoff push segment 2.
Now this is a shout out to a beer Chuck had
Last
week. We decided to make it, official this week.
Oh my god, it's so nice.
Downtown
It's
Brown.
So good.
It's one of the greats.
It's a
here.
classic for me. It's an absolute classic. It's almost a nostalgic taste. Like I used to, you know how you spoke on some of the craft beers that got you into craft beers?
Yeah.
I think
This is
Downtown
one of
Brown
them.
I can put on a banner for me.
Well,
for
West
sure.
Coast in general, I think. Great White.
Eureka
and Downtown
Cali,
Brown.
baby.
Boom,
Eureka
both.
Cali.
Yeah, I had some good beers. This is what I think of when I think of a brown, though.
Because it's not heavy. It only drinks at a 5.0. So it does have a nice little nutty and malty backbone, but it's also not overly aggressive. You drink it and it's kind of gone.
It's
Which
good.
but it leaves that nice malty.
I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's a great beer, Lost Coast. But it is a nostalgic beer for me in the sense that like I've been drinking this specific beer for well over a decade for sure, if not 12 to 15 years.
Salute for that.
For sure, like a long, long time.
Let's jump into the playoff push.
Dude, playoff. Oh my god, you guys! I want more NFL. Like it's scary that it's already
So we got
13 weeks in.
We got 5 games left.
5. 4 for
two teams only have 4.
The
Let's start with the
Patriots
AFC,
and
boys.
Steelers. Ugh.
First 4 division winners.
Okay.
Miami's at
Leaders.
Yeah, right. Division leaders. This one. Miami at 1.
Wrong. Baltimore.
No, they have Miami at 1, Baltimore at 2 right now in the way that ESPN has it laid out.
Really? I'm
Both
sorry,
9
man. I didn't
both
mean
9
to
and
cut
3.
you off. Okay.
Both 9 and 3.
Okay.
KAC at 8 and 4 at 3, and Jacksonville at 8 and 4 at 4. With that huge loss of Trevor Lawrence with the high ankle sprain, and maybe
looks
missing this
promising.
week. He looks positive this week, but man, last week should have been a win. And it really seems like that Jaguars team, offensive line and defense cannot stay. If the offensive line and defense could stay somewhat consistent, I think that team would be where I thought they were, and they have not been. The defense gave up a ton of points to a backup quarterback last week and made him look like a superstar.
Trevor Lawrence also
Hey,
had a
shout out
superstar.
Jake Brownie.
Hey, no,
You
y'all
good?
good. Any comments on the division winners or division leaders at this point?
I mean, Jacksonville is the only one I was a little worried about, but it sounds like Trevor's coming back sooner than later, so I think they'll be fine.
Charlie?
Yeah, I think Kansas City's got the West pretty much, right?
Dude, can they catch a fucking football for Patrick Mahomes?
They're at 8 and 4 with the sloppy hands they've had. So I mean, there was 2 or 3 direct losses because of drops. Like I know that every game isn't just one play, but you look at some of those games and you're like, that one play was 6
Drops.
That was
Turnovers and penalties. Drops on third down should
are
be
awful.
Dude,
Penalties
drive
are
killers.
terrible, too.
Penalties on
Drive-
third
I
down.
hate penalties.
Turnovers. Drops, penalties, and
I
turnovers.
hold my breath after every time we do something good because I feel like there's going to be a flag. First, I just do. I don't. Maybe that's superstitious, but I just, especially we've been the most penalized team in the league
You guys
this
are
year.
real
That's
bad.
probably why.
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it.
But
So-
and what? And then else? Okay, so you got Baltimore doing the Baltimore that we thought Baltimore was going to be good. Trev and I, were a little.
They're fighting for
That's
the
why I
top.
thought they were going to be, they are number 1. And Miami, they obviously they're the crown of the AFC East right now.
To touch on that real quick, though, I think Baltimore finishes that one. I think Miami's schedule is a
It's
little
going to
bit
catch
more.
up to them. I don't disagree with that. It's,
I'm a
it's
little-
tough.
I'm a
It's
little
tough
worried
to
about
stretch.
Baltimore injuries.
Okay,
Ended up
understood.
coming back.
Mark Andrews,
Andrews
yeah.
done.
Mhm.
If they lose a receiver, like if Odell goes down or Zay goes down, they could be in trouble. I know that new running back has been a little spark of life in the backfield.
Mitchell?
Rookie.
Keon Mitchell. He's
Keon
from
Mitchell.
Baltimore.
Him in, but
I just worry about
Injuries.
Baltimore injuries offensively, like being the failure to that. Like,
But I will say, okay, as long as Lamar stays healthy and that defense plays on point, they will be competitive.
they'll be
They're
competitive.
not going to be runaway. They're not going to be a runaway, but they can keep in every game.
and I think Mark Andrews has a chance to come back. It won't
They
be
said-
until the end.
They would have said late postseason if it happened.
Dude, that's so scary. The
I
Super
don't
Bowl
like that.
coming back after like 7, 8
It's
weeks,
always
9
tough
weeks. Did you
plugging
play
that player
one
back
game?
in.
Yeah. That chemistry's different. Like Andrews.
I don't
makes-
know how much that chemistry is.
And then
different,
also
though.
you're saying you have to make a deep playoff run. We put them in the Super Bowl, but that ain't guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. It's the one game playoff. It's why the NFL's king.
And then the 3 wild cards as of this point are the Cleveland Browns at 7 and 5, The Indianapolis Colts at 7-5, and the Houston Texans at
Woo-hoo,
7-5.
let's go, Texans.
Just out right now is Pittsburgh, who lost on Thursday at 7-6, and then you got 3 teams at 6-6, and then you got a couple of 5-7. So it's tight at that thing.
It is.
Colts and Texans keep winning. They're in AFC South, best division of football. Huh? No? Okay. Do you see?
I was not ready for that.
Do you guys see Cleveland, Indy, and Houston all making it, or does like Denver, Cincy, Buffalo? I think
Buffalo is going to find a way to get in. I feel like they'll claw and scratch. With 5 games left, they'll find a way to get maybe 3 or 4.
Which of those 3?
I don't know.
Cleveland, Indy, Houston. Do you see?
I think Cleveland's gonna hit the skids. I think their magic has run out for what they have been able to harvest for the year. Their ceiling has been had, and they're going to sink.
I'm with you there, and I put the Colts on the cusp. Like I'm not sure which way that team's gonna go.
Dude, can we give a shout out to Shane Steichen? He has Minshew at a fucking high level. That whole fucking
Which is why I want to drink actually to Gardner Minshew. He's a Cougar, which kind of sucks, but he's a great NFL story, dude. That kid
Colts, dude, you
has
guys
been bouncing around backup wise, and even this year he was a backup until AR got hurt. But
yeah, but Steichen definitely up for Coach of the Year.
100%.
Him and
D'Amico.
Yeah, that's gonna gain probably most of the juice depending on how the season closes out.
Yeah.
And then, so anybody else? I mean, I know I'm pushing for my 5-7 to go undefeated the rest of the way, but that's shot and darks. I do think that the Buffalo has the best chance to make that push.
Yeah, I think Denver is good, not great. They could still contend for
I kind of like
the season.
Denver. I think it took a little while, but I think Sean Payton's got that team playing how I thought they would at the beginning of the season. I understand the division rivalry and why you don't like them.
Fuck, I hate them.
But this is what I thought Denver was going to be with Sean Payton.
I did too.
Well, they're growing into. They still have more that they could go. He hasn't unlocked Russ as a passer almost at all. He's
been a lot better.
He's been efficient, but his yardage has been minimal. He's just been not turning the ball over. Back to classic game manager. But he hasn't been able to pull the string. Like Cortland Sutton and him are getting there. Yeah, right.
They are on the same page.
They're not locking
Russ.
Russ by any.
Him and Sutton have been better. Yes.
Better, but not. So there's still a ceiling, I think, that they could reach.
Yeah, they need to develop that second go-to guy.
Oh, big time.
So let's jump into the NFC playoff push. This weekend is fucking huge for the number 1 spot.
It is.
Dude. Let's just go with the first 4 and we can get into it. I think there's going to be more conversation here in the AFC. Number 1, Philly. Number 2, San Fran. Number 3, Detroit. And number 4 is Atlanta right now, just because they are winning the NFC South.
The South, baby.
Do want to mention that the other team in the East is 9-3, and they're sitting at 5. We'll stop there because Sunday night, maybe last week we thought it was a really big game, Niners-Eagles. I think this is a way bigger game because the Eagles lost. Cowboys-Eagles Sunday Night Football is fucking huge for standings, for everything at this point.
The viewership rating is going to be out of control for this game. This is a perfect fucking moment for
Isn't this what every Sunday night game should be? Or Monday night
or
Thursday night game? Epic shit, not fucking
Thursday
backup quarterback versus backup quarterback. Yeah,
but you just don't know. The NFL
is
such a pendulum of it. It swings it's not still enough for you. Right, the Jets had 9 primetime games because Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be playing and he got hurt in 4 plays. And that swung the NFL season from day 1. It wasn't day 1, but anyway.
But yes, it was almost day 1.
Yeah. Day 2.
So right here, depending on if Eagles win, they take a clear lead in the NFC.
Oh, they stranglehold. It's over.
If the Cowboys win, which I think actually might happen, because I think that me and Trev have kind of been on this Eagles don't look as dominant, and last week kind of was it was really
It was a punch in the mouth having a difficult schedule this year, wasn't it, Philadelphia?
And Shane Steichen leaving, I've been pushing that this whole year. If Dallas wins this game, it goes Niners 1, Dallas 2, and then Detroit 3, or does Or does Detroit have it? Or do you guys know if Detroit would be over if Detroit gets a dub this week? Would they be
I have
over
not the
Dallas?
slightest clue what the tiebreakers would be across. But basically, you're looking at the 1, 2, or 3 seed being not wide open, but pretty much like
It's up for grabs.
Yeah, you got definitely the Niners, the Eagles, and the Cowboys all going for it. And then if Detroit really comes on strong and goes like 4-0 or whatever, they could make a push.
Can these top teams win out?
Their defense, Detroit Lions defense, with the injuries of Gardner Johnson, all that is really starting to show that defense is having a very hard time stopping.
And then Jared Goff has now started turning the ball over,
which is a problem because he can't turn the ball.
He's got to be on time. No, the way he works is on schedule. He doesn't work off schedule. He's got to be methodical and right on point. Like he doesn't ad lib very well. And he's had like 6 turnovers in the last 2 or 3 games. It's been rough.
Go ahead.
If Dak beats Philly this week, is Dak clear-cut favorite at MVP?
I
Come
mean,
on, Purdy.
Purdy's the guy right now, right?
He does. He's
the
plus
favorite.
He's
But
plus
if
300 in the books.
If Dak beats Philly this week,
I could see him jumping into the number one spot.
If he's the reason why,
goes out and has like 280, 3 tutties, completion
the
percentage.
narrative will absolutely
Even 2
be
tutties, 280, 2 tutties. His completion
Just
percentage.
no turnover. As long as there's no turnovers and he doesn't really he can only impact the game positively.
Correct.
Right. So I don't really care because in the sense that like it will also swing back to Purdy, back to Dak, back to Purdy. Like it's all fluid right now. There's really going to week by week, depending on the performance. I think books and odds are going to change. It's going to be really because it's that close, and
you never know. Maybe Josh Allen goes on fire and the Bills win out. And he gets MVP.
I don't think he can save his career for an MVP this year.
I think it would really depend if they won out. It would have to.
But he'd have to be 403 tuds.
Yeah, it'd have to.
Rushing yards.
I think he's the only player that gets into the conversation.
Well,
other than those two,
in theory, could do that too.
I just don't think he gets in.
He's not gonna.
I think Josh's numbers, because right now Josh's numbers are even, like, he's still got 30 plus touchdowns right now. I think Josh is the only one that can get into that conversation, but he has to
It's
win
gotta
out.
be perfect.
Yes.
It's gotta be perfect.
I think I think that Tyreek Hill's in the conversation. They're never going to give it to him.
Same with Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey's in the conversation. Never going to give it to him. You could argue a Myles Garrett if he finishes as strong because he's the defense.
Never going through the.
But it's never going to happen. I know it's never going to happen. But you could argue it because
I'll wait for that day.
Because he drug his team into the playoffs.
I want the MVP to truly mean what the MVP is. If you fucking think about it, Tyreek Hill is the most important player to his team on a team that's making a difference right now.
I would say the offensive line is the most important player to the Dolphins because
Trent Williams got MVP at 1 year.
You can attribute a lot of wins to that man's knowledge on a football field, for sure.
But to bring it back to Philly and Dallas, again, this is a game we bet on when the game was in Philly. I thought Dallas had a chance. They had a chance, and they did some Dallas shit. Some Cowboy shit that resulted in a loss. I think the Cowboys getting them at home this season or this next game, man, I'm rooting for the Cowboys because I want my team to be in first place.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Oh man, pulling for a rival for the over. Sometimes, what is it? You got to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. You know what I mean? If it benefits me, go for it. Sidebar.
Whose fan base you hate more? The Philadelphia Eagles fan base or the Dallas Cowboys fan base?
Dallas, it's not even close.
Now, I heard this on a poll. Philadelphia was voted to have the worst fan base, according to ESPN.
Yeah.
People hate the Philly fans.
Everybody I've ever met from Philly, dude, I work, my parent company is in Philly, and they're all, they're exactly what you think they are. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is exactly what you think it is.
Can you blame them, though? I think that's a product of your environment.
I don't know. I've never been to Philly.
You've never been to Philly?
Never been out there, but I bet it's an alright city. It's a city of brotherly love, bro.
It's cold as fuck. We mentioned
so's Reno
right now. We mentioned that Dallas was 5. Right now, Minnesota 6, Green Bay Packers 7, Rams, Seahawks all on the outside. Then there's some other teams at 5 and 7 after those two. Do you see? Because we know that 5 is either going to be Philly or Dallas. Where do you see 6 and 7, and does New Orleans get back into 4?
So yeah, the South is up for grabs. I kind of like.
I think Atlanta closes that
You think
out. To
Atlanta
be
closes
fair.
out?
I really do.
I hope so, because I think they've looked like the best team in the South, which is kind of hard to say.
Yeah. One turd's better than another turd.
Yeah. But
My
I
New
kind
Orleans pick looks like shit, doesn't it?
Who?
That's
My
a
New
tough
Orleans
take he
pick.
had. Yeah, he had one with the juice.
Well, everybody was on New Orleans though. They thought
look-
they should have been better.
Paper, man, it's tough. It's why preseason rankings don't mean shit. It's why, like, you don't know. Nobody really knows.
So does 6 and 7.
6 and 7.
They're
I
the
think.
only two that matter, right?
I think the Vikings stay in with Jefferson coming back. I can't see
Raiders
how.
Raiders are gonna dub this week. They're out.
I think getting Jefferson back for the Vikings though keeps them in.
It's huge. Right now, I don't think you can argue one of those outside looking in teams to get over Minnesota with Justin coming back.
I mean, Green Bay has looked so much better with
If
these last couple weeks.
Love just stays exactly where he's at, 250, 2 to 3 tuds, no turnovers.
Three
That's-
teams
oh
out of
my
the
God.
North though.
It really looks like they have opened up the offense to him
That's
instead
true.
of
We shit on NFC
dink
North.
and dunk, doesn't it?
Yes.
It really looks like they've let Jordan kind of like air the ball out, and dude, he's got a fucking cannon
Well,
for
that's
an
what
arm.
you have to
Throws
do.
a nice
Good.
deep ball.
Good. So, okay, so then I mean, why not then?
But doesn't it look like over the last so many weeks that that's what they've done? It hasn't been like this,
Maybe
just
he's
like,
finally proven himself. His percentage is
I
up.
mean-
His downfield targeting is up.
Christian Watson has a hamstring though, and those linger, soft tissue.
Soft
That
tissue
could,
stuff.
that could cost him a game here
You
or
see that
there.
catch by
It could.
Romeo
It
Doubs
could.
last week? Dude, he's been shelling out Wolfpack alone. What's
Yeah,
up?
that's local love, no doubt.
Christian Watson.
When
I
he
was
scores,
super
I always
high on.
throw it up. Like I appreciate the UNR boys.
Yeah,
Christian
Doubs.
Watson, super high. I was super high on coming out of the draft, dude. I think they are in a prime position if this is the Jordan.
Love
That we're
era.
gonna get.
Maybe
Dude.
it could be. I mean, I think that they've been the only team over the last decade who has sat on somebody that long before they've actually given him a shot.
So if there is another challenger for that wild card spot, who do you think it is?
Well, I can't necessarily. Chuck makes a good argument. I know that he's got the Niners and Eagles coming up.
Ooh, for
Not
the
necessarily
Seahawks.
saying he's going to get dubs in those, but his next 3 games after that could be.
They
so
do
he
like
can push
no,
that.
no, I know 9 and 8 could be a wild card team.
What
But I
about-
don't know the Rams
What
schedule.
about the, yeah, that's what I'm
They
I don't
saying.
know.
control their own destiny over Seattle
And I
because
think
they absolutely have
and
a
that's,
tiebreaker.
and that's the one reason I think that the only problem with them is staff can stay healthy, because without him they didn't look as good.
They never do. Dude, Matthew Stafford's still a fantastic
Dude, I love
quarterback.
Matthew
He's a
Stafford. I
field
think we've
general.
all been on Matthew.
It's one of those things where like you respect that dude, right? If you're on an offense, you trust that guy. Let's go out here and execute. Whereas like anybody else on that team, you're like, nah.
And
Is there a
and Sean
timetable?
McVay's a coach.
Yeah, is there a timetable for Cup though?
I think he's like just kind of like that day-to-day shit.
Mm.
But I mean, and Sean McVay's a coach. Like Sean McVay does. I'm not shitting on Pete. I love
Demands
Pete.
respect.
Obviously, we hang the USC shit. But Sean McVay has that team. That offensive line is playing good. That team is somehow 6-6. I thought they'd be good. I think Chuck thought they'd be a little better than they were supposed to be. But dude, they are on a playoff push, and I think they might. Seattle's got a week end of schedule, so I don't know what the Rams' schedule is. So I can't.
We gotta steal a game in these next 2 weeks to really. So if we come out 7-7 rather than 6-8,
Because-
that's huge.
because then you get
the 3 end would be great. Yes, you
Titans. You go Titans, Steelers, Cardinals.
get correct. Yep.
So that Steelers game is one game. If you get, say you do lose 2, then you beat the Titans. That Steelers game then is
Well,
epic.
but
because
you
the Steelers are going to be fucking hurt at that point too.
Here's the thing. We can
Are you
if
in
we
this
if
one?
we get 10 if we go 10-7, we control our own destiny. If we're 9-8, the Rams are going to compete for
Are
that.
you,
So like,
are you in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I want to say yes. I know that's a tough sell. Always
Definitely,
is.
the West is the other division competing for that against the North. I think for that last wild card.
We joked
Yes,
around.
agreed.
We joked around before the season started, right? We joked around that could we make one of our hot takes that the North or the South could get more teams in over the West? and it looks like maybe the North could end up, right now the North has 3.
3, man. That's why I think one of the West teams might take that spot. It just...
And I don't know Green Bay. I know Green Bay's. One thing for Green Bay making the playoffs was that they had an easy schedule the whole year.
Our game matters for both of our season trajectories big time this time as well. Not that it didn't 2 weeks ago, but like very significant.
Even more as
the
it kind
Philly,
of starts
with the
lining
Philly
up.
Cowboys game for and like we can't drop. That'd be 4 in a row. Seahawks fans, we can't be doing that shit.
I think if depending on what happens,
what a game.
I think depending on if you lose these next 2, Chuck,
Right.
and then you beat the
Just-
Titans, which I think is
all of
I'm
that
not
is
going to give you
possible.
I'm giving
All
you
of
my
that is
100%.
possible.
I think
Sure.
you do lose
Sure.
the next 2,
I
beat the
understand.
Titans. I think that Seahawks-Pittsburgh game is a deciding factor in the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Seattle Seahawks season. I think that game is going to be a
If we
huge
lose
game.
that one, we're done.
Well, I think
For
if they
sure.
lose that game at this point in time too,
Sure,
they're
because of
fucking
how
done,
tight
too.
the AFC was on the back end. No, I don't disagree. I think
Watson concussion
that's
protocol.
a Super
so he
Bowl
might not play
rematch.
this week.
That's a Super Bowl rematch.
It
We,
is.
Right.
yeah, no, I
Some
don't have a
history
lot of
there.
I don't have good blood. With
Is it Watson
Pittsburgh.
concussion protocol too
I have
right
no
now?
idea.
Yes, he is. TJ
That
is in
sucks,
concussion
dude.
protocol.
But I know they just played. But still, concussion protocol rolls, dude. It's not just he's not automatically playing the next game.
No,
We'll
but
see tomorrow.
we still have 2 weeks to go until we.
No,
see
he played
him,
on
so-
Thursday.
Oh, you're
Or
right.
3 weeks, so.
But I know I'm just saying that like I
It
think
can
that
linger,
I
and
think
it can-
Steelers Seattle Week 16 is an epic game for both franchises on playoff implications depending on what happens. I know that's 3 weeks, but it's a lot to say. But I really do because I
See
think
how
that
it's
both-
lining up. And
I think
Hey,
both
man.
teams are
together.
like on this weird slide.
It's
Which
why,
works.
it's why the NFL is so fucking good because on any week, dude, you can come out there and blow a team out, or on any week you can look like a fucking junior varsity team. Like, it is absurd.
Well, and that's why I think that we've talked about the Browns and the team in the AFC we think's fallen out because
I think
they're
that
starting Flacco or DTR. Who knows? You know,
Yeah,
Flacco came out and balled, but did that happen 2 weeks ago?
Miles Garrett is going to have to survive these next couple of weeks and just absolutely push this team forward. Like they still have some decent pieces on offense, and DTR he's still in the concussion protocol.
Yeah,
so.
and I think Coop's still hurt too for some reason.
Cooper, that's right. He got
Yes,
waxed.
both of
shoulder,
those
I
guys are
think.
questionable
I
for
think
sure.
shoulder.
I thought
Yeah, so it's
so.
Elijah Moore who's probably going to be their featured guy.
And
so.
obviously they lost Chubb at the beginning of the
Oh
fucking
yeah,
season.
no, but I just think between the other competitors in the AFC, like that one to me, it's a quarterback-driven league. And look at New York, dude. The Jets actually have a fairly decent squad outside of quarterback.
I
They
don't
started
know.
Tim Boyle, he sucked. Didn't they cut his ass?
Their
Like,
offensive line's
oh
awful.
my god.
Their offensive line's one of the worst offensive lines.
I will say, okay, I guess I'm looking at skilled position and defense, but you're right. Their
Defensively, they're
offense,
good.
their
Their
offensive
offensive
line is
line
not
is
good.
I kind of got
It's not
Christian
good.
Hackett too.
Yes, his play calling sucks.
He was supposed to be crying.
There's
with Aaron
some
Rodgers.
people on the Jets
Aaron
that are there
Rodgers-
because of Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers.
Rodgers is running the
100%.
fucking Jets.
He did for the offseason.
Aaron Lazard was a healthy cut or a healthy scratch.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
This is he can't catch the fucking ball.
Bizarre.
Ugh. Suck ass. So that's a playoff push. I know that Chuck is pushing for his team to get in. I think that me and Trevor Moore think that the Rams might sneak in. I think in the AFC, I do think we're all on the basically the same point that the Bills are going to get in the playoffs, and the Browns are probably falling out. Man, it'd be crazy if the Jaguars, Colts, and Texans all get the playoffs out of the South. Dude,
That'd
that'd
be
be
nuts.
fucking nuts.
I mean,
And the North could get 3.
but I
How
love
crazy
that.
would
But
that
I
be?
love that. I love seeing chaos in the sense of like you didn't know, nobody knew, nobody.
Except the North and the NFC is not going to get 3 because I'm winning this weekend. Positive vibes.
Doesn't get manifested,
Vikings
bro.
out. Vikings out.
I've been yelling at fucking Trevor all day about, I'm wearing an Earl Thomas jersey. The last time the Seahawks really dominated the Niners was during the Legion of Boom era, baby, and that was what I wore this fucking jersey for.
Good. We're going to come back with a
I
little
love
bit.
Trevor. I do love it to the utmost degree, but
A little bit.
Except on
Thick-
Sundays.
A little bit thicker
only
comments.
2 weeks out of the year. Only 2 weeks out of the year. Every other Sunday?
We're gonna come back with a little bit thicker common sense. I think we got like a couple topics.
We got
that
some
are
top
all
billing
pretty
over
hot.
there. We got some top billing over there.
And we're gonna hit up a Fandom. Plus, we're gonna hit up this fucking crazy ass brewski.
Yeah, it's a little thicker beer as
We're all
well.
gonna be about
It's a
that
sample.
much
I
because
only
it's a
brought
big
one
rock.
because homeboy over here, you know, he's being responsible, gotta drive it. It's a Thickums.
So yeah, we got one to split between the three of us. That's why there's 3 on this pod.
Cheers,
Bottoms
boys.
up, though.
We'll see you guys at Common Sense and Fandom.
Oh no.
Welcome back to Balls and Brews. Cheers, boys. This is gonna be a fucking thick
Beer 3.
God damn.
Yeah, the small man. Woo. All right, so got one beer to split between the 3 of us.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Oh,
It is rich.
Oh my
It's
god.
good.
Fremont.
I don't know about
Shout
that.
out to my boys up in Seattle right there. It's called the Melange.
Can I see
Coupe.
that? Can I see that can? There's a lot going on.
Yeah, dude, it's that. So that's their logo. They have that. Is that a stork?
I think so. Yes.
I think that's a stork. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Or like a very.
I think it's a stork.
The beak.
It's a
right?
stork.
Yeah. So it is a barrel aged. It's a blend. It's a spiced stout and porter.
Kind of.
There's
There's
That
a
is-
lot of flavors.
Oh
going
my
on.
god, cinnamon comes off
I get a
for
lot
me.
of cinnamon.
Yep.
Like chocolate.
Chocolate. I get a lot of
for
cinnamon and
sure.
chocolate. What's that back end? What's the back end on that flavor?
Oh my god, that's so good.
And it doesn't
I wish I
quite.
didn't share that with you guys.
It has kind of a. It has the barrel aged right
It
up
does.
front.
Yeah.
Right up front, but it
Oh, you
doesn't.
think it's
end
up front?
barrel.
I think it's the exact
Do you?
opposite.
Okay.
Yeah, I would disagree with you. I think that it's cinnamon, a little bit of coffee, and chocolate up front, and then barrel aged on the back. That's my. But it is. That's 10%, y'all.
See, I get the barrel aged right in my mouth, and then I get all those other flavors after. And I smell the barrel aged too.
Okay.
Like as soon as I
Trev,
go
how
drink
about
it,
you?
No, I'm with Z there.
I feel like
It has that smooth, I think,
That's
finish.
right
Yes,
up
I
my
do too.
fucking alley, dude. For a
I feel-
barrel aged beer, oh
I feel
my
like it's
God,
like
shout
I
out.
feel like it's like my worst nightmare right as it starts going in, and then I'm like, wait a second.
Aggressive
Wait a
start,
second.
smooth finish.
Yes, I do too. I smell it, I'm like, oh, here we go again.
With that
And then I
barrel
go
aged
drink it,
beer.
I'm like, oh, it is, and then it just kind of like slowly
That's
mellows
so
with that.
funny. I feel like it's the exact opposite. I feel like I get all of it right off the top, all the cream, all that delicious mouthfeel, and then there's a little bit of that barrel heat on the back end. That's so funny. But shout out to y'all, Fremont. That is a crafted beer. That's a blending 2 different brews to make one new brew. That cannot be easy. So, you know, Seattle, drinking that Seattle beer. Come on, you know what, Trev? I love you to death. I want to beat the Niners so bad.
I'm sure you do.
So bad.
But that blend thing,
Put that
though,
aside.
like, I mean, wine companies have been doing it for a long time now, and I've seen some beers. I think that's kind of a direction that
Oh,
you
the
might
blend-
see for
oh,
the crafts
yeah.
coming
No.
forward.
Yeah, I've had some other cuvées, that's all that means is just blended. Like, it happens not frequently, but enough, like once or twice a year, depending on who's brewing it, kind of thing.
So let's jump into. So we have a double head of common sense.
Double.
I think it's 2 really good things to talk about. So let's start with the first part of the common sense, the Jets quarterback situation. I think the day Aaron got hurt, the very next podcast we talked about as a group, another agreed comment was Jets should have went out and got somebody that point in time, right?
Rather than the Zach Wilson experience, yeah, I think
Right.
we were all leaning on you now because you still had the window to do so. People still would have been willing to barter. Like, once Zack really showed himself again this season, and then it wore on towards, you know, the middle of the year, you didn't have the equity. People weren't as willing to trade, you know. Should have happened right then.
So then you go Zach, right? So then you go Zach. Terrible. Your offensive line sucks. He's not necessarily doing good. So then you sit him
Right?
for a couple weeks. You let Tim Boyle play. He's
week.
awful.
That was 1 week.
But he gets pulled, and Tim plays like the back end of the game and all that, right?
1 week.
Then you go back to him and you want to start him. Reports come out of the locker room that he doesn't want to play because he doesn't feel like the organization's behind him.
Because they're not.
That was from Rossini too.
And it was, yes. How do you feel if you're Zach, Chuck, and how do you feel as what's your overall feelings at this point in time about, do you feel like Zach's kind of been fucked?
He was in no man's land. No, he's not been fucked. He's been given every opportunity. Is that offensive line terrible? Yes.
Right, not fucked. I mean, just kind of,
Zach,
the organization kind of kicked you in the balls and kind of...
Well, because he kicked himself in the balls. He didn't play well. They gave him like fucking 17 or 20 games as a starter, dude. It's not like they benched him after fucking 2-3 games. Like, they didn't give him a chance. He basically had a full season and a half over the last 2 years. Like, he has shot his own foot as far... So did the Jets, are they handling it poorly with starting Tim and then cutting him? Yeah, that's a fucking stupid move. Within like a week or two, that doesn't play well. And I can understand why Zach is now like, well, duh, they don't have my back. They're clearly, they brought in Rodgers, which was cool because I was supposed to learn from him, blah, blah, blah. He's been whispered, they opened up his window, so whatever that means, if he comes back or not, it means he's cleared to play football.
I heard he's not now.
He shouldn't be. Yeah, no, he would.
Heard the same.
Good, then don't. But they just wanted to make the stunt that he's medically cleared, right? So now he's gonna take, but they're not backing Zach Wilson. You don't have to be blind to see it. And if I was that actual person, I would be so torn up. I would be so torn up trying to go out there and play football for this organization.
Yeah, because I think the one position that has
they're waiting to cut me or let me go or trade me. They have to find the moment for that. They can't trade me now. They got to sit on me. So I got you. But you're on outs.
I think that the Jets fucked Zach before. Zach didn't play good his rookie year and made tons of comments that shouldn't have been made about about the defense and shit like that. Zach not getting traded at the beginning of the season should have happened immediately after Aaron got signed. You kind of hung him to dry because once Aaron got hurt, Zach could have never done right unless he went out and balled. He wasn't gonna ball. He wasn't ready to ball. Zach needs to sit like Jordan for like multiple years.
To be fair, it would have been awesome had he.
It would have been. But Zach
but he
doesn't
didn't,
seem.
and he hasn't.
Zach needs. I think that, and I don't think Zach's played good, and he's had the opportunities to play good, and I totally agree. But I think that he got screwed at the beginning of the season by not getting traded. And then when Aaron got hurt, there was so much hype on the Jets. Like you said, was it 9?
No, it wasn't that many. That was an exaggeration.
But
it was like 5 or 6. It was like 5 or 6, yeah.
So now that he's in the spotlight for all those individual games, but everybody's watching, so his confidence has no go. You start somebody else, and then you come out with this. And I think that Aaron on Pat McAfee was right that leaking that kind of information is BS. Like whoever leaked that, whatever coach or player leaked that to Rossini,
somebody
might be right
inside the organization gave her that.
But it's BS that report got leaked, and it should be common sense that, dude, in-house shit should stay in-house, and you're the person that's leaking it. Which, as a Raider fan, after they fired McDaniels and Ziegler, that a lot of leaks were coming from like McDaniels. Like he was the one that was like dropping the info to the media. Shit should stay in house, and I think that should be the more of the common sense, I guess, of the topic itself. But the Jets quarterback situation should have been fixed on day 2 of the season.
I mean, I like to present the other side there though, because you spent that capital on taking that guy at number 2. It makes sense that you don't want to give up on him as quickly as maybe the Niners gave up on Lance.
But it's number 3 though.
But you see him in house though.
Yes. The thing is though, you don't plan for that Aaron injury. That changed everything. They should have brought in somebody else to compete for that second or for the starting job at that point. And not doing that has just kind of it's worked out the way it's worked out.
It's been the downfall, I guess, of the Jets. Well, Aaron getting hurt, but the offensive line was always never good.
And they were never good.
Is that not work? Well, it's always not been good. They
There
wasn't
you
like
go.
they improved
Okay,
it.
always
That's
never
better.
good.
But the Jets were trying to build Zack back up. But
For a moment there, yeah, and he beat the Eagles. Shit, for most of the season, he was the only quarterback that took down Philly. Now that wasn't his doing. Like he had that one drive though during that
But
game.
played no turnover football.
Right, I know.
He
It
managed
gave
the
you
football.
the game manager hope. It gave you that twinkle in the eye again, and it still just didn't work out.
But with Wilson, he hasn't taken that next step.
Not even
And
close.
because of some of his comments last year, that kind of revealed
Yeah.
that
Immature.
it's not above. Yeah, he's immature when it comes to playing quarterback. And I had high hopes of him coming out of the draft because that arm is great. But when you hear him speak, you got to recognize that he's not that guy. I don't think he's that guy if he goes somewhere else. I think he probably gets another chance because of how high he was drafted, but I can't see him being anything more
I
than
don't
a
know.
backup.
I don't know if he's tradable at this point. He is a free agent.
You
They
wouldn't
get
get much.
signed at a 3rd round pick because somebody's like, maybe he can do something.
He looks to be on that Josh Rosen
Correct.
projection right now.
Same draft, right? Same draft. Yeah.
There was 9 teams ahead of me that made a mistake.
Chuck, you got any more to add on to this? Anything else you want to
Oh
finish
no, I
off?
definitely feel like, me and you let in and then Trevor gave us the back end. We're definitely covered on this here topic.
Okay, so number 2 is, I think that there's this bullshit perspective by the media of when colleges fire coaches, and then there's this thing that, the college or the coaches still owe this much money, and then you'd see the media pop on and say, look at that, we fired another football coach and now our university has to pay this much money. For example, Nevada hired a new coach. I think it was a good hire. Montana State, he won some championships there. Biggest contract Nevada's handed out, right? So you see that article day one. 2 days later, you see an article by the newspaper posted, or not by the newspaper, by a news channel posted that now Nevada's raising tuition because of staff hires. Well, that was directly towards the football team. There are companies and boosters around said teams, not just Nevada, around Texas A&M, around whoever fires, that are paying more money than it is put out. It's not the university's paying $70 million to Jimbo Fisher. It looks like that, but it's not. The university's not paying $70 million. The university doesn't have $70 million. It's the boosters, correct?
Yeah.
Like, why does the media always have to put that? Is it
Well,
like they're
let's
trying to make
also,
it?
the thing that you said that was incorrect. The university does have that money, but they're not on the line to make it because the athletic department and their decisions and the athletic department only feeds into the education sector when it's successful, and it doesn't necessarily, like, the education department doesn't suffer because the athletic
Correct.
department does. No,
Correct.
for sure. There are two different sectors of college, or the NCAA is different.
So most universities, out of the 133 in Division I, pay for every sport through the football program. Every other sport is paid for because of football program.
Subsidized.
So say if you are Fresno State, right?
WNBA.
I think we talked about this on the pod. Fresno State got $2.6 million to go to Arizona State and win, and to go to Purdue and win. You know what that $2.6 million went to? Not to the football program. That $2.6 million went
The
to
university.
every
other
other
athletic
program
yeah.
in the university to pay for their travel, to pay for everything else. You know when a football program goes to a bowl game, they get paid.
That's why it's huge.
500
to a
million, right?
smaller- Well, not that much, but yeah.
Well, no, 500,000, right, to go to the bowl game. So now the conference also gets 250,000. That 250,000, say, goes to all of their 10 teams. So because Boise
One
State
school, yeah.
and Fresno State get to go to bowls all the time in the Mountain West, that money gets stripped down to every other program. You know what that goes to? Not the football program. That goes to every other fucking program in the fucking university. So yes, like Chuck said, Texas A&M has to pay $70 million. These teams have to pay the money, but it's not the education part of the university that
They're
is
not
paying for
suffering.
this
No,
stuff.
they're using.
It is the boosters, it is everything else that is paying for that side, or the money that they're getting from everything else that the football program does.
It's always football is king.
That's what I was gonna say.
There's like Duke basketball that makes a little bit of money, but now
They
Duke
make a
football
lot of
started
money.
to.
They make a lot of money.
But to help, right? Not like to help throughout. Then you get Kansas basketball sometimes.
NC,
you
UNC
get Kentucky basketball, UNC basketball.
Oh,
So
that's a blue blood.
there's a couple basketball programs out
No,
there,
it's football.
but that's it.
It's football alone.
There's no baseball
It is-
programs that help out. There's nothing else. It's football and then the random b-ball programs that Chuck and
I would say that baseball at certain schools can make a difference. Like I know
can
Vegas
break-
been on it in South Carolina. Those schools
They
can
break
probably help.
even
But
or make
in
more
the
money?
sense of an under-successful football team at Vanderbilt is going to make more money than a national championship baseball team at Vanderbilt. It's 100% true. I don't want it to be. I want the succession to be, like let's fucking hoist.
Success.
This is our trophy. Fuck yeah! Whether it's in baseball or football, it's still amazing. But like the football one, it's the pinnacle. It's what people pay attention to. It's the casual fan base. Johnny Football, baby, money. Johnny, you know what I'm saying? It's driving the college football from 4 to 12. We've talked on that several times. That's what flexes NFL games,
It would
which
flex
is great.
Alabama to get played in Michigan.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
where we are as far as
We're
college
out here
football
trying-
conferences
And we're trying
divisions.
to make some goddamn money. That's
Because
why
the
we're doing this
Pac-12
podcast.
because the Pac-12 didn't fucking sign a good TV deal so many years ago. Basically broke the Pac-12 up.
It did.
7 to 8 years later.
Well, because we
It's
saw all
100%.
these other fucking conferences getting all this cheddar, and we
Yep.
weren't getting none of that cheddar. And it's like you got bitter, and you couldn't solve it in the end. We tried to do some streaming deal. We threw this last second
Stupid.
flyer. Oh my god, no! The Pac-12 it sucks because you shit it all down the drain for no goddamn reason. None.
100%.
Well,
None.
money was the reason.
Right. Let's get off of I don't know if it's just a negative note, but we're kind of going to another negative note. And
We
the
are.
Fandom-
We're just no. It's
Chuck,
a guy. It's a
take
guy.
it away,
I'm
buddy.
sorry because we have in many earlier pods we touched on the sports writers that kind of inspired us, got us into the game, the ones that we listen to daily, weekly. A lot like we hope you guys do for us. But this one I kind of aren't there some humans out there that you listen to sports wise and they just get under your skin. They're
Well, it's like they
annoying.
just
you
say
just
that-
cannot understand their takes or why they say what they fucking say.
Well, it's like they say it for a reason, just to be that
Stir the
negative
pot,
man.
just a hot take kind of person.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that is just to speak that other side. Some
Hold
of
on.
it just seems.
Big news.
Hold on now.
Ohtani to the Dodgers, 10 years, $700 million.
shit.
700 million. Did you say that again? Say that again.
Goddamn.
Say that
Ohtani to the Dodgers, 10 years, $700 million.
Why the Dodgers? Oh, I know.
Are you
Money.
fucking kidding me?
Ah.
I gotta check that text. Hold on. We are live. This is happening straight up.
Oh, is it on a group text? Because my
Yep, Pat just sent it. Ohtani to the Dodgers on a 10-year, $700 million
This is
deal.
the biggest live news that's ever broken on this pod.
It is.
Holy sweet shit.
Can we switch our fandom to how much we fucking hate the Dodgers?
I mean, honestly, yeah, sure, I'm fine with that. Or just
Dude!
look, okay, so since it's broke, no, we have to sidebar. Like this fandom has to come down to the MLB and how crazy that is overall. Raise your hand if you hate the Dodgers.
Dude, they have Freddie Freeman at first base.
Oh, they
Mookie
are-
Betts is playing second base. And now you have Ohtani DHing for at least 1 year. And now he's pitching
You
for
just
the
put him
next-
under a decade, or you even get 5 years out of him, and you bet $70 million a year.
$700 million.
$70 a year if you have to cut him, move him, whatever. He's 28, so that's through to 38 right there. That's why I asked how old he was.
Ohtani's 29.
29.
First player in baseball history to be named unanimous MVP on multiple occasions.
No, he's historic. I mean, oh my lord, oh my lord. He almost became a billionaire off of one signature.
Dude, they are gonna have Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman at some point in that lineup at 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Holy!
That's a long paper lineup.
That came down quicker than I thought it would.
Dude, that is
I thought-
the least team, I wanted him to fucking go.
I thought this Ohtani drama was
Oh.
gonna stay silent, but at least stay dramatic. I didn't think this was gonna break. This is fucking nuts, dude. Like,
Dude, that sucks.
it
That
does.
fucking sucks.
But he gets to stay in LA. He doesn't have to move.
Yeah.
He doesn't have, like, how easy is that for him? They give him the most money. He doesn't have to change anything he's doing other than the coaching staff and his teammates. He can live in his house. He can be around his family. I mean, it makes sense for him. You know, shout out, get the bag. You don't do this. Is 100% for him. That's what I'm saying. There's not a single part of this for Ohtani that doesn't work. For everybody else, other than Dodger fans, that's fucking absurd, and it's sad. And you should have come to the Northwest. But
I was hoping he was going to.
hey, man. You know, maybe we can get. Was it Yakamoto? You said is that the pitcher's name?
Yep.
We got to be in running for him.
So now your starting lineup will something look like Will Smith or Austin Barnes starting at catcher. Most likely Will Smith will take most of those. Mookie Betts will start at second base. You got a young kid, Michael Bush, that started at third. Freddie Freeman is an amazing hitter and first baseman at first. You have Kiki Hernandez right now. Right, Gavin Lux will probably end up playing shortstop. He got hurt. Remember at the beginning of the year,
That's right.
blew out his knee, and then Chris Taylor will be rotating around outfield wise. You have Jason Hayward. You signed to a 1-year term. Your 1-year deal. Your outfield is not as strong as it has been with the way the team's been built before you. So it'd be interesting to see if some of these young kids come up for the Dodgers, and then obviously your DH will be
He's a Dodger.
Shohei
He's
Ohtani.
a fucking Dodger.
I mean, congratulations,
Fuck.
Dodger fans. I
I'm
didn't
not
want to root
congratulating you.
against.
I'm not fucking congratulating
I
you.
didn't want to root against Ohtani, but now I feel like I have to, which sucks.
You literally have 3 dudes. Last year, you know how the MVP went? It went Acuna 1, fucking Mookie Betts 2, Freddie Freeman 3rd. You know how the AL MVP went? Oh, Ohtani was fucking number 1. You have 3 MVP people.
Yeah, man. Money, LA, that Dodger ownership group. Hey, if there's one thing that you can say about
They
the
do
city
work
of
hard,
Los
dude.
Angeles, well, no, they are a Dodgers first city. I'm not saying they don't love the Lakers.
It's
We
definitely
got a little bit of love for the Rams. Nobody cares about the Chargers.
Since Kobe and the Shaq kind of went more Dodgers.
Even
instead.
no, it's always bled blue. Even when they were terrible, that city has been a Dodgers fucking city. It always has been. You see more when they were terrible. I saw more LA Dodger
so
logos than Laker
That is
logos.
I
so,
don't know.
that is so fucking
Lakers at their
disappointing.
peak were pretty heavy.
That is so fucking disappointing.
Yeah.
Dude, we really just that fandom went to shit in a handbag. Sorry, everybody. That's some big news that we just had to report. That is some of the biggest. Dude, 10 years, 700 million. We're not seeing another. He just broke North American contracts.
Absolutely.
All North American
He just
sports.
doubled up some of those massive max contracts in the NBA. Now, granted, it's for 10 years rather than like 5
Dude, he's at
years.
70 mil, dude.
Per.
A fucking
Yeah,
year.
no, I just
That's
that
nuts.
that is.
And he's playing in LA. That has nothing to even do with any of the fucking other money that he gets because he's Shohei and he's gonna he's gonna bring in so much money to the Dodgers organization by him being of
Right.
Japanese descent and him being this huge Japanese star, dude, in LA, dude. The Dodgers are paying $700 million.
Well,
they
that's
just
why-
made $300 billion.
Yeah, I mean, another reason to stay in LA with that marketing, he's going to
Dude.
be in a lot more commercials. I feel like
He
being for the
doesn't have
Dodgers,
to
playing for the
change his
Dodgers.
life at all, and he just made $700
making
million. How
stupid money.
fucking easy is that?
So much for keeping your eye out for where Shohei signs.
Wow, no kidding. The drama has anticlimactic. No, it's not
This is
anticlimactic. It's just aggressively wrong. Yeah, wow, that's passion right there. That is a fandom.
God,
That's
why the fucking Dodgers? Fuck!
Because it had to be the Dodgers, Downey.
Well,
There it is, man.
At any fucking team, it didn't need to be the fucking Dodgers!
Pod 38. Are we gonna end on a better note? Or are we gonna end on the fucking Dodgers?
Keep your eye out, like Chuck said. Yashimoto is still out there. I think this week, now that Shohei has signed, I think I said earlier,
man,
this
that's
week is now going to be, I
bonkers,
think,
dude.
I think we're going to see a lot of movement.
The NBA Finals. So we've been talking about we're going to compress this week into Thursday. So we'll touch on the winner coming up. We're going to do another pod Thursday. We're going to cut another edit. So I think that game's going to be great. I'm sorry, Downey. Take a deep breath. I loved our playoff push conversation. I think that you really definitely, if you're an NFL, watcher, this is it. This is the moment. I know that you're exactly. At least you're a high fuck. I'm a low fuck. I'm like, ugh, fuck. You're like, yes, fuck. Anyway,
I'm
yes.
like, fuck every Dodger fan right now. That's where my fucks are at.
That's that love right there. So make sure you follow us on Buzzsprout, Spotify for audio, YouTube for the visuals. We're gonna have the beers up. $700 million to Fremont because this beer was fantastic.
I'm not giving
Trev
$700
got
million to Fremont. I'm cheersing to it.
to fuck the Dodgers.
Cheers on to that. See you guys next week.
Down, absolutely.
Cheers for that.
Dude!